All right, let's talk about Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. I thought this could be an interesting idea for a video. I'm kind of making some of these videos of guys who I've made film studies on in the past, like Marvin Harrison Jr., but it was before I knew which team they would go to. Now that I know he's going to be a Cardinal, even though we kind of assumed that would be the case, I kind of thought, let's talk about how Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. could fit in together, because I actually think this could be a really good fit on top of it. Like something like this, for example. So it's going to be a tight end who's actually running this route. This is the great Trent McBride, who had an awesome season last year. He kind of was their number one option, but this is a lot of what Kyler loves to do. We saw him do this with Hopkins as well. Is if he has a good option, he's going to use that good option. So in a situation where it's a one-on-one matchup on the outside, Kyler is going to take the snap right here. He looks and fires in that direction. And is there a window? Yeah, there's a window. Like, this isn't a wide open window. It's certainly giving your receiver a chance. But when you have a player you trust, especially for Kyler, he's going to use that. Watch Kyler put a really accurate ball, but also a really good catch from McBride. And, again, when Kyler has had good players, which, hasn't been always in Arizona, but they've often had at least a guy that he can throw to, he's usually done a good job of taking advantage of it. So, I can definitely see that happening with Marvin Harrison Jr., of just consistently feeding him and not just giving him jump balls, but even situations like this, where there's maybe a small window, but still putting the ball in that area, but also in situations where there's jump balls and things like that. But also going over to something like this, where, again, it's going to be kind of a similar situation. It's a one-on-one matchup here on the outside. This is, once again, Trey McBride, who, last year we know how much Trey McBride was able to bring to the table, so why not put the ball in his area as often as you can? But McBride's kind of almost as a receiver on this play in a one-on-one situation. When this play begins, you're going to see Kyler Murray, again, this is just a pure 50-50 ball. I mean, he's not trying to hit McBride in stride whatsoever. He's just throwing it up there and saying, hey, I trust my guy right here, which is definitely something he did with Hopkins. And it's like, he doesn't do this with everybody. There certainly are receivers who he won't trust in these situations. But for someone like McBride, or now for someone like Marvin Harrison, it could be really interesting to see what happens. And you see that, McBride does a good job of coming back, making the grab, so good work by him with all of that. But also, just for Kyler in general, you have to think that this is a real big benefit to not just have one of these guys, right? I mean, I'm showing these examples of Trey McBride making these plays. Hey, one of the benefits might just simply be that Trey McBride's getting more opportunities to make these plays because Marvin Harrison Jr. is able to, take away some attention. But let's look at this play as an example, where it's going to be a zone coverage play, and you see, running a go route here, Marvin Harrison Jr. is, but watch what happens when this play begins. The quarterback is going to take the snap, he's going to fire in this direction, and right here, is there a lot of separation? No, there is not, but quite frankly, this is a pretty similar example to what we're talking about earlier, of this is the quarterback throwing it up to his best receiver. And this time, Marvin Harrison Jr. is able to make a tough sideline grab. So, again, once Kyler kind of realizes, okay, this is what you can do, these are the plays that you can, make happen, he's going to give Marvin Harrison Jr. opportunities to make tough catches. He's going to trust his guy, and for good reason. Also, something like this I thought was a really interesting fit so it's going to be a deep shot here. It's zone coverage, and, I really think this is maybe one of Kyler's, I don't want to say most underrated, because people do talk about this, but I do feel like when you talk about the great deep ball throwers in the NFL level, I don't know if Kyler really gets enough credit for how good he can be at this stuff. Watch how when this play begins, receiver is going to get open. Kyler's going to take a shot down the field. And listen, is this open? Yeah, this is open. This is the throw that you certainly hope that Kyler can make. But when you see someone this open down the field, you don't have to hope it works. As you see, it just works. Beautifully thrown, able to get the long touchdown right there. Really, his deep ball is one of his best attributes. It's really his running and his deep ball are probably the two things he is best at. And for Marvin Harrison Jr., let's talk about his deep route stuff. Something like this, it's a zone coverage play, and you see the route that Marvin Harrison Jr. is running on this one. Watch how when it begins, you see him really just blow by these corners. Not really a move. He's just faster than them, which at the NFL level, of course, you're going to have to develop moves and stuff like that. And he does have, footwork and route running and stuff, but here he just doesn't need it. And you see here, Ohio State quarterback makes the throw. Marvin Harrison Jr. is able to make the grab right there, gets into the end zone for a touchdown. So really good stuff by him there. But again, this is where the great fit comes in of if you have a guy who is great at getting past the defense and scoring these touchdowns, well, it only works if you have a quarterback who can hit him. And yes, the Cardinals have a quarterback who can hit him. So there's definitely that great fit as well, on top of them both just being really good players. So yeah, I mean, as a whole, what do I make of all of this? I really do think that this could be a really good connection. And kind of going back, and the part of what's fun about doing these videos is really thinking about how these fits work. I think a lot of times in the draft, we do very much think, okay, this team needs a receiver, and then, this is a good receiver, let's just draft him, and that's that. But I do think that when you kind of think about it in this way and think about how the fits can work, you really definitely kind of get more of an understanding of why some of these teams draft these players. Sometimes you actually are more confused by it, but in this scenario, I am not more confused by it. I think it just makes perfect sense. Again, I think that even if it wasn't a perfect fit, there'd probably just be, hey, let's get the best player. And certainly, it's not like all Marvin Harrison Jr. can do is, win these matchups down the field or these one-on-one shots towards the sideline. He certainly can win over the middle. But for someone who is so good at the deep shots and at the outside shots, which is where Kyler's strength is, it's been talked about before. Kyler's numbers are a lot better towards the outside and deep down the field as opposed to over the middle. People have speculated it's a height thing. People have also speculated it's when you only have when you don't have three great receivers, usually you're throwing towards the outside, which for the Cardinals, even at their best, have usually not had a ton of depth at the receiving position since Kyler has been there. So maybe there's certainly some logic to all of that. But just in general, I just think it's a really good fit for Kyler Murray. I just think he's someone who can really, quite frankly, he needs a receiver. I mean, they paid him all this money, but if you don't give him a receiving core or at least some receivers, it just doesn't work out that well. Trey McBride's very good. I still think you could sit here and critique some of the depth here. And I guess the one criticism that, I haven't, not criticism, but the one flaw in a plan like this that we haven't really talked about too much is, of course, how often is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to have a safety deep down the field, which could be pretty frequently. But again, then Harrison Jr. can do the other stuff that he's very good at. And the answer isn't going to be always. There's going to be one-on-one matchups. And kind of as I said, if they are double-teaming Marvin Harrison Jr., well, that opens up the door for Trey McBride. So he could have a better season this year. As a whole, I think it'll be a really fun pairing, and I'm very interested in seeing what they can all do together. I think it'll be probably pretty good. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I do appreciate that. If you want to see more of my content, I have a movie channel. You can check that out. Link is in the description below. A lot of fun stuff on there. I have a good time with it. And there's, of course, plenty more content on this channel. I upload 3 videos a day. So, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that good stuff. But yeah, thanks.